Big Cat here to talk about motor pacing. So to motor pace, you need two things. You need a scooter, like we have here, and you need a driver, like we have here. Say hi, Jackson.
Hi.
Okay, now that you got your driver and your scooter, let me talk about those in more detail because they're really important. A scooter, like this is a Buddy 125. A 50cc is okay, but you might find a rider can outrun the 50cc at about 35 miles an hour. This scooter is really good up to about 40, 45 miles an hour, which is way more than you need. A street bike like a Harley or a Kawasaki, that's too fast. That's going to blow the rider off the back. And a car, do not motor pace with a car. The draft is too big, the speeds are too fast. It's just unsafe. Do not motor pace with a car. And besides that, that's unrealistic. This is like Jens Voigt. And your driver, it really helps if your driver is a cyclist. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to relate what you're trying to do. And when the expression I use is, your driver is Jens Voigt and all he's doing is controlling the throttle. So you're right behind here, you're creating a draft. You got a driver that's like Jens Voigt. He never gets tired. And what I tell Jackson here, hey, what I tell Jackson, so you got your scooter, you got your driver who's a cyclist. He knows how fast to go, how to back off the throttle going up a hill, how to get back on the throttle. He's going to look at your cadence. What I tell the drivers is two things. Think in terms of speed and heart rate. Power is actually bounces all around. It's really hard for the driver to, get a sense of how hard you're going, because you're going to be doing 800 watts, 0 watts, like just repeated. Motor pacing power is very bursty. But heart rate's really good because there's a lag. So today I'm going to tell Jackson to motor pace me between 155 and 165 beats per minute. He's going to have an onboard Garmin that's going to register heart rate and speed. It's paired to my my heart rate monitor here, so he's going to be able to see, hey, Frank's doing 155, I can speed up, or Frank's doing 165. That's about at his limit. That and speed, and we're going to motor pace between 26 and 34 miles per hour today. Flat, rolly terrain. It's a good speed workout. This is a neuromuscular power workout. What I find as an athlete and a coach after motor pacing, like I'll go ride tomorrow and I can feel the power 360 degrees of my pedal stroke. So you're pedaling really hard, really fast. And so one of the things you'll look at in the power file is your cadence. And my cadence is going to be probably average about 100 RPMs. And that's what you want. You can't motor pace at 65, 70 RPMs. You won't be able to respond to all those micro changes you need to make to stay on the wheel at that speed. So motor pacing will help you develop a higher cadence. Super good for time trialists, road cycling, mountain bikers, just about any cyclist out there. Motor pacing is a great workout. Okay, speaking of the motor pacing as a workout, we got our onboard GoPro here, and we are gonna get some footage of me crying in the dojo, and then we'll also do some power data analysis. And honestly, everyone thinks their power is going to be awesome, but 30% reduction in power output from drafting. So power is really not ever that impressive. What's impressive is the speed at which you sustain and the distance you travel while you're motor pacing. And so I'm training for cyclocross. My events are about an hour. I am going to motor pace today about 30 minutes. A good standard motor pacing workout is 30 to 60 minutes. And honestly, just keep it simple. Full gas or pretty close for the whole duration. I've had a lot of athletes come to me and they're like, my coach wants me to do 300 watts, 5 times 3 on, and it doesn't work like that. You can motor pace for longer if you're a stage racer or a roadie or doing a longer event. A lot of the pros will come to us and ask us to motor pace them for like 3 hours or 4 hours, and then go really hard at the end to mimic like a the end of a road race. But for cyclocross, for most amateurs out there, 30 to 60 minutes, really hard, pretty close to your average threshold heart rate, you're going to get a great workout. So we're going to go film some, go do some motor pacing and get some footage, and we want to show you how it's done. Okay, as you can tell from the footage, that was hard. Got dropped a few times, blew up, really gave it my all. And then one thing that you're gonna find is with your driver is you gotta practice and really get the feel for the throttle. And it's just the feathering it just right. We crested a couple of those hills and I just needed the scooter to slow down just a wee bit. It wasn't a function of me, I was giving it my all. And then there's other times where you're like on the flat or the downhill and you're like freewheeling and coasting. So the thing about motor pacing, and when you're gonna find your driver, really get the same driver over and over, like week to week, have them practice with you and just communicate. Jackson did an amazing job his first time driving, so I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that is. Sorry, Jackson. And but yeah, I mean, but you could, Jackson's gonna get the feel for the throttle, and it's just like riding a bike. You get better at it and be able to just really think like you're a bike racer and you're on the front of the peloton and you're chasing a brake. You're not gonna go super duper hard and drop the peloton. That's not how bike racers work. And the other thing to remind your driver about, as we talked about this during the footage, is when you make changes to speed, spread it out over 30 seconds. If you make like instantaneous changes, like the scooter can do it, but the bicyclist can't. And I was getting jerked around there and I was fighting it and I was trying to keep up, but that's one of the reasons how I blew up. So that's how you motor pace. I think we'll get back and we'll analyze the data and then show you a few more things. Here's the power file of our motor pacing session. And let me orient you. Here we are, we're heading north on 36. We were motor pacing at this point, but we were warming up. And as soon as, if you look at the GPS here, as soon as we get to this left-hand turn, right here, that's basically where we started. So the first thing I'm going to look at is average speed and average heart rate from start to finish. And if you just left click and scroll around, so it's here. So Motorpace for 28 minutes and 41 seconds. And the first thing I'm looking at is heart rate again. So 152 beats per minute, and that is not quite my threshold heart rate, which correlates well to about how I felt. I wasn't going as hard as I could. The other thing I'm going to look at right away is speed, 28 miles per hour. So that's quite fast, way faster than what I would have been able to do on my own, but that's not really the point. Then I'll come up here and look at normalized power and 285 watts from start to finish, which is about 98% of my FTP. And since heart rate of 152, I can do the math quick right here. 152 divided by 162, which is about my threshold heart rate. And it comes out to be about 94%. So I've got about 6% more to go in order to do like a threshold motor pacing effort. And so I'll probably see my watts come up, maybe like 5 to 8% the next time. Speaking of the next time, since this was Jackson's first attempt at motor pacing, I can't believe he pulled that off. Nice going, Jackson. That had to be nerve-wracking. But what we're going to do next time, we're going to go do the same route so that he knows the route, he knows the terrain, he knows how it drives, and he's going to take how he adjusted to the throttle this time, and we're going to shoot to average 30 miles an hour. We're going to shoot to have an average heart rate of about 160, and then we're going to look, just see where the power falls. But all this really high power output, high speed, speed, where are you? 40 miles an hour followed by 24 miles an hour. We're going to try to cut that out. So we're going to take about 5 miles an hour off the top here and add that down to the slow sections. We had a lot of 35 to 14. I think I blew up right here. We were really getting adjusted to the throttle. You can see that in my heart rate. Also, one cool thing, as you remember from the footage of me getting dropped, this section here, right in and around here, this was 1,029 watts for 5 seconds. Not that big of a deal for all you super watt monsters out there, but going 40 miles an hour, that was a lot. That was where I was getting dropped at the crest of the climb. So overall, 286 watts, 151 beats per minute, and 28.1 miles per hour. As we go back next time, and as I tell my athletes, I have them get the average speed, get the average heart rate, and I'll say, okay, go back next time and do 2 miles per hour faster. And if you can tell your driver that, and if you can get them to display average speed on board in real time, that really helps them drive. Same thing with the heart rate. So we'll work on that next time with Jackson, and we'll look to do even a higher quality motor pace session. Thanks for watching.